You are the happiest person in Lordran. This is not an achievement. This is a medical anomaly. Lordran is a kingdom of dying gods, crumbling architecture, and creatures that will kill you in ways that feel personally offensive. Everyone you meet is either hollow, hostile, or somewhere on the spectrum between miserable and completely given up. The first flame is fading. The world is ending. The undead curse turns people into mindless husks who attack anything that moves. You show up and immediately ask if anyone wants to engage in jolly cooperation. You are Solaire of Astora, knight, warrior of sunlight, man who painted a sun on his own shield because the sun on his shield wasn't real and he needed it to be real in some form, even if that form was just paint on metal. You have come to Lordran to find your very own sun. Everyone you tell this to gives you a specific look. You know the look. You address it immediately every time. Do you find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time. Then you laugh, in Lordran, where everyone else is crying or hollow or both. You laugh. This is going to be a complicated story. Here is the first thing to understand about you. Nothing you own is special. Your sword, the Sunlight Straight Sword, is described in the game's own item description as easy to use, dependable, and unlikely to live up to its grandiose name. It is a regular sword with a fancy title. You named it that. The sword did not earn it. Your shield, the Sunlight Shield, is decorated with a holy symbol. You illustrated it yourself. It has no divine powers of its own. You painted the sun because you needed the sun to be somewhere you could look at it. So you put it where you could always see it. Your armor, the large holy symbol of the sun painted across your chest. You painted that too. Powerless, hand-painted, yours. Other knights in Lordran carry blessed weapons, enchanted armor, equipment touched by gods and forged in divine fire, and their power comes from what was given to them. Your power comes from training, just you, doing the work every day until you were good enough to be here. The sun on your chest is not a gift from a god. It is a declaration, a thing you decided to carry because you decided to believe in it. Most people in Lordran are trying to survive. You are trying to find something. These are not the same journey. Before you understand the story of Solaire of Astora, you need to understand Praise the Sun. The gesture. Both arms raised, face turned upward. The specific posture of someone who has decided that the sun is worth addressing directly. Hidetaka Miyazaki, the creator of Dark Souls, put this gesture in the game secretly. His publisher told him it was not cool enough. They actually told him this. The director of Dark Souls was told by his publisher that a gesture he personally loved was not sufficiently cool for their game. He put it in anyway. He created Solaire specifically to make this gesture famous, to give it a home, to put it in the hands of the most genuinely kind person in a game full of dying things and make it mean something. The gesture became the most recognized thing in Dark Souls history. Not the bosses, not the lore, not the difficulty. 2 arms raised at the sun, by a knight who painted his own sun on his own shield because he needed to believe in something and decided to believe in this. You are the first person in Lordran who helps the player. Not because you need something, not as a transaction, not with conditions or warnings or ominous implications. You help because you believe in jolly cooperation. You give the chosen undead the white sign soapstone, the item that lets them be summoned into other worlds to help other players. You explain how it works. You offer yourself as a companion for the hardest fights in the game, and then you show up. Golden summon sign. Bright aura. Praise the sun gesture when you arrive. You fight beside strangers in someone else's world, for no reward except the specific satisfaction of having helped. You are summoned for the Bell Gargoyles. for the Gaping Dragon, for the Nightmare of Ornstein and Smaug, two of the hardest bosses in the game, fought together in a cathedral, and you arrive with your regular sword and your hand-painted shield and your absolute certainty that this is going to work out. It usually does. Because you trained for this. Because you trained for everything. You are also, by the way, extremely powerful. This gets overlooked because of the cheerfulness. But you are a knight who chose to become undead, specifically to pursue a quest in the most dangerous place in the world. You did not arrive in Lordran by accident. You came here on purpose, alone. The smile is not innocence. The smile is someone who looked at Lordran and decided to find it interesting instead of terrifying. Here is what you are actually looking for. Your own son. Not the sun, not a son. Your son. Something specific to you. A light that belongs to you the way Lordran's sun belongs to Lord Gwyn. A purpose so clear and warm and yours that it functions like sunlight. Something to orient yourself by. You travel through Anorlondo, the city of gods, enormous and golden and mostly abandoned by the gods who built it. You sit by a bonfire there and look up at the false sun in the sky. Gwendolyn's illusion, a conjured light where the real sun used to be, and you say, "When I peer at the sun up above, it occurs to me," and then you stop. The sentence doesn't finish, because you don't know how to finish it yet. You are so close to understanding something. You can feel the shape of it. You just can't see it clearly yet. You keep going. Through Blighttown, the Tomb of Giants, the places in Lordran that exist specifically to break people. You do not break. You are also, at this point in the story, starting to look tired. Not hollow, not broken, just tired in the way of someone who has been searching for a very long time for something they can almost see. Lost Izalith is where most stories about Solaire end. It is a city that burned itself into ruin. The floor is covered in chaos bugs, creatures that crawl and cluster and carry a specific kind of danger for someone in your state. One of them carries the sunlight maggot, a parasite, a creature that sits on the head and emits blinding light. You find it, you put it on, and for one moment, one terrible, specific, understandable moment, you believe you have found what you were looking for. "I am the sun," you say, in a voice that is not quite yours anymore. "I've done it. I did." Here is what actually happened. You searched for so long, worked so hard, gave up so much. The quest for your own son consumed everything. Your home, your humanity, your mortality itself. You chose to become undead for this. And when you finally found something that looked like it, a light, sitting on your head, bright and warm and yours, the having of it destroyed the needing of it. In Lordran, the thing that keeps you from going hollow is purpose, the quest, the searching, the not yet found, you found, and the finding, without something new to reach for immediately after, hollowed you. Miyazaki designed this as the normal ending, the expected ending, the thing that happens to Solaire of Astora in most playthroughs of Dark Souls. The happiest person in Lordran, driven hollow not by despair, but by finally getting what he wanted. But there is another way. If the chosen undead, the player, goes out of their way, takes an obscure path through the Chaos Covenant, kills the specific bug that carries the sunlight maggot before you can find it, you sit in that room, in Lost Izalith, on the ground, sad. "I failed to find my son," you say, even after everything. And then, after all of that, you come back. You show up for the last fight, against Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, the first Lord, the one who linked the fire the first time, the god who gave everything to keep the light alive, and now sits on his throne as a hollow husk of what he was. You fight him beside the chosen undead, with your regular sword, with your hand-painted shield, with the specific joy of someone who has found, not their own son, but something better, someone worth fighting alongside. And then, if the stories are right, if Miyazaki's vision for the happiest ending is true, you go to your own world. You link your own flame. You become the sun, not a parasite on your head, not a false light in a dying sky. You, burning. The thing you were looking for was always what you already were. Centuries later, in Drangleic, another kingdom, another age of fire fading, someone finds the sunlight straight sword. The description says it contains the very power of the sun now. It didn't before. When Solaire carried it, it was just a well-forged sword unlikely to live up to its grandiose name. Something changed. In Lothric, another age, another crumbling world, Solaire's armor can still be found. His covenant still exists. The warriors of sunlight still raising their arms at the sun, still offering jolly cooperation to strangers in worlds that are not their own. The gesture is still there, both arms raised, face turned upward, the specific posture of someone who decided the sun was worth believing in. You painted the sun on your shield. You painted it on your chest. You trained until you were strong enough to go looking for it in the worst place in the world. You kept helping people on the way. You kept laughing in Lordran where everyone else was hollow or dying. You kept searching past the point where most people would have stopped. And in the end, in the best version of the end, the one Miyazaki called the happiest ending, you became it. The thing you painted. The thing you believed in before you had any reason to. The sun. Praise the sun. If Solaire was the reason you kept playing Dark Souls, drop it in the comments. And if you want to know the story of the man whose son Solaire was chasing all along, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, drops next week. Subscribe. The fire is still burning.